Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Digital Kitchen. Today I am joined by Andy. He's come in to talk to us about all things Williams. But today we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to focus on something that these guys do a speciality in, and that's meat aging. So let's go in the kitchen and talk about all things meat aging. Thanks. And we've got the ager we were talking about. So Andy, do you want to talk us through this unit?
Yeah, thanks Chris. At Williams, what we've done is we've got 2 or 3 different types of thing to actually age meat in. We've got the cabinet, and then you start talking a bit about the big cold rooms, and then you can go as big as you want from that side of things. So this is the smallest unit we would provide, and to be fair, you wouldn't really want one that's really that much smaller, because by the time you put meat in there, once you take it out, the aging process, and cut it, once you take it out, cut into the meat, the aging process is basically halted. So here we have a unit, so it's 620 litre unit. This one's got shelves in it. We do it with hanging racks as well if you want to hang a strip loin, that sort of thing. But to be fair, most of the people that we sell them to, they go for the shelf option. It's got Himalayan rock salt in the bottom.
Why Himalayan rock salt?
It's all about the properties of the salt itself.
Yep.
It's got that side of things in there. But what the rock salt does is it controls the humidity inside the cabinet. So if you was to put that joint in a standard fridge, it would start to age, but it'd get wet, it'd get moisture on it, which then would actually, you get mold growing on it, so it wouldn't actually work as it does in a dry ager. That's why a dry ager is a specific product for that side of things. So a standard cabinet around 45, 50 degree humidity, or 50% humidity, sorry. And this one, as you can see at the moment, it's running at 80. So it normally sit between 65 and 90, somewhere in there. This one at the moment is fluctuating because we've been in and out of it, just taking product out. Okay. They're also designed, once the meat's inside them, you don't just keep opening the door and shutting the door. It's in there to do a job. So it's all right if you put another joint in there, sort of thing, but you don't. It's not a service cabinet, so you won't keep opening it, taking one out.
And that's why if you go to a meat agent sort of restaurant, you'll see on a board somewhere they'll have what they've taken out for that particular day, because they've taken so many joints out or so many loins out, what have you, cut them up, and that's what they've got, because they don't want to keep going back into that and obstructing the environment, really.
Exactly. I mean, there's a big restaurant in Bristol. It's got a big cold room that we put in, and it's full of meat, basically, that's aging a different thing. And you see that they've run out of ribeyes or something. That's not because they have run out, it's because they have a guy go in there once a day, he prepares the meat for them for service, and that's it, it's shut, it's locked. It's limiting the access to the cabinet. That's why, as you can see, this one's locked there, so most of the time it's locked, hasn't got access to that side of things. When you're looking at meat aging, the biggest thing you want to do is you want to draw people's eyes to it. So as you can see in this one, it's got LED lights right down through the side. Standard commercial fridges don't have lights in them. So as you can see, we're just trying to make a
visual, yes, we buy with our eyes as well, and obviously the prime cuts.
What you'd also find is a lot of places they would actually have this wrap, so it'd be black or something from that point of view. Different things across the front of them. So
okay, so essentially, and what we're doing in here is we're creating an environment that's almost perfect for the right bacteria to grow to be able to accelerate that aging process. And it's always, you go to a supermarket or a shop, you see 28-day aged, and then you go to a restaurant and stuff, the longer you age it for, the more they seem to charge for it, which is, I guess, which is where this comes into, the process comes into it. So you're paying someone to age, obviously you're paying more for your meats and your cuts and stuff, whereas if you can do it yourself, A, you've got the visual, but B, you can obviously be saving your money in the long run, because you're not paying for that extra money for the prime cut.
That's right. Well, as we mentioned before, people buy with their eyes and they can see it. And if you want a dry aged piece of meat, you can see it from that point of view. We've got various case studies and leaflets here from butchers and to restaurants as well. But one of the butchers that we've actually been working very closely with, and we do meat aging events at his store, he'll say for a 6-bone rib, you'd normally pay around £65, £70 for that. After it's been aging for about 4 months, you're going to get about £130 for it. Right. So from his point of view, yes, you actually there is shrinkage. You can't get away from the shrinkage. It's only about 5% realistically on the meat itself, but you're paying a lot more for it. And what he will do is he will actually age people's meat for them as well. So he's got banks of them with different stages of things. So
Okay.
you can age, beef is the big one, as I was saying, but you can age things like geese, duck, lamb. You wouldn't age lamb for anything like that. I mean, you're only talking sort of like 3-4 weeks maximum for things like lamb and geese and that, but it does age, it does help break it down.
Yeah.
Because the aging process, what it does is it breaks down the enzymes in the meat, breaks down the fat, so you're better off with things with high marbling. So sort of like grain or corn-fed products is great for that side of things as well. And you're better off having it on the bone. So you wouldn't put a top side in there because it just wouldn't do any good because there's no fat content on the outside of it, there's no bone in there. You're just going to get more shrinkage than required. Whereas things like sirloin on the bone, strip loin,
Got it there ready. So we've had that in the cabinet now for a while, as you can tell. I guess to the untrained eye, you'd think, what is that? Throw it in the bin. It looks like it's gone horrible, gone dry, mouldy, that sort of stuff. But that's been in there since the 18th of March, so quick maths, what's that,
123, 24 days, something like that.
So yeah, that's a long time that's been in there. And it's still, perfectly fine to eat. So we're going to carve, to be fair, we've had 2 in there, so we've carved it up already.
That's
ready
right,
to cook off, and then we'll carve this one up as well. And the idea, what we're going to do as well, we do a bit of a taste test. So I've got some 28-day aged steaks, which I bought from the shop, which you'd normally get in the supermarket. And then we're going to compare it now with the 100+ day age, which is sort of going to nearly the extreme. Obviously, you can age longer. There's some case studies out there where people have aged for years and years.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, there's a guy in Texas. He's had meat in their age for 459 days and serving it. And to be fair, there hasn't been a limit reached realistically, and it's. Yeah, it depends how far you want to go.
Exactly, it's just an old way of preserving meats, wasn't it, back in the day when there wasn't refrigeration?
Yeah, it's not new. I mean, the cavemen used to do it donkeys years ago. But the thing is with it is, the longer you can keep it, there comes a point where it's not viable, as in financially, to keep it because it's costing you that much money to store that piece of beef.
Yeah, of course.
So, but you'll find that around Christmas time, butchers, if they have one of these in there, their yield goes up considerably because people go in there, and that's when the people tend to spend a load of money. And the guy who had these, honestly, the amount of ribs, and that's why he had to buy another couple of cabinets because he just saw it
for the demand.
Just going
absolutely. And what we're doing in here, obviously, the outside of the product, the fat and stuff, is creating its own bacteria, but it's a good bacteria. So it's not like penicillia. So very similar to what you get on cheese.
Yeah.
So we're quite happy to go and eat brie cheese with fluff on it, no problem at all. But then when it comes to meat, we're like, ooh, no, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
But in theory, it's the same process. It's just an aging process, whereby here, we're breaking down the fats and the enzymes to make it more of a sort of a nicer cut to eat. So we're going to sort of test that theory now. So we've got Paul has come in, so he's from Falcon, and we're going to talk about some of the grills. But I thought what we do is a bit of fun exercise. Is we've got a gas grill, so your traditional sort of char grill you get in a restaurant, but I've also got one of their electric grills. And to throw a bit of a wild card in, I've gone with the Buffalo Egg, which is a solid fuel like barbecue. So to speak.
Okay, yeah.
So I thought what we'd do is we'd cook 3 steaks of the aged on each one, plus 3 steaks of the 28-day aged from the supermarket on each one, and then we're going to grab some people from the crowd, not tell them which is which, and then get them to taste them, and then just see if there really is a difference and if they pick this one as the best one. So just as a, is it true? Is it right? Is it so? No pressure. No pressure.
The jeopardy of it all.
I mean, we could be up for sale and clearance of 50% off this afternoon if it doesn't go well, but hopefully it'll go well, and we'll see what we'll do. So what I'll do is I'll have a quick catch up with Paul, talk about what he's got here and what the differences is, and then we'll start the cooking process.
Sounds great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
What I'm doing now is introduce Paul. So Paul is from Falcon. He's going to come down, talk to us through the range of grills we've got here, and then we're going to do some cooking between us and hopefully eat a lot of steak. That's the game. So hopefully. Paul, thank you for coming down, sir.
Pleasure. Cheers, Chris. Thanks for having me.
So, Falcon.
So, we've got 2 Falcon pieces of kit here. We've got a gas char grill and an electric char grill. But over to this side, we've actually got an egg barbecue, which is where char grilling started. It's an open fire. People cooked on open fire, and char grilling of meat gives you a unique flavour to steak. It's because we use 2 heat sources: conducted heat and radiated heat. What do I mean by that? It's the gaps between the bars. Everything else is either a transferred heat from a solid plate or a ring, but char grilling uses the 2 heat sources. We do various sizes of char grill, going from a 400 wide, this is a 600, through to a 1200 wide char grill, and then we do electric models in 600 and 900. Why have we gone electric? Purely the electrification of kitchens and energy and green, and the savings that we need to make with the reduction of fossil fuels. Do they cook the same? Absolutely. It's two heat sources, conducted heat, radiated heat, which give you that unique flavour. Bar marking would be slightly different, and the cooking performances might be slightly different in timings and so forth. But we'll put that to the test today.
That's what the test is about today. So we say we've got the caveman, me love meat cooking. We've got the traditional, what you'd know as a char grill in a restaurant, up to sort of today's methods where we use an electric. So it'd be interesting to see that, as well as the aged and non-aged meats, or 28-day aged meat, should we say. But Falcon itself, you've got a lot of products. There's not just grills to do. You've got a massive range full cook lines. You can do sweets, all that sort of stuff as well.
We're into all sorts of cook lines, Chris. So we're predominantly horizontal cooking in medium and heavy duty. And we do that in different ranges. Dominator that you see here, and then a range called F900, which is our restaurant ranges, if you like, that are a bit deeper, a bit wider, and just more heavy duty. And then we have some really heavy duty for high volume users like the MOD in our Chieftain products.
Which I used to use in my previous life. So Chieftain everywhere. Had it for years. Bomb-proof stuff. So great. So I think the next thing to do is, what we'll do is we'll talk through the aged meat and what we've broken down. If you're happy, because I heard in a previous life you were a butcher, so we can use your skills. If you could butcher up that other joint for us in the Ager, while me and Andy jump in and talk about what we've done here with the steaks, and then we'll get to cooking.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
No problem at all.
So what we're doing here, while Paul is breaking down the rib there, if we just discuss what he's doing. So the meat's been aging there, obviously, as we spoke about, for 100 plus days. So here, this is what the wastage you're getting, isn't it? This is what you're going to be taking off, as you say, about 20% of the rib itself.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter if it's aged or not. You're still going to lose the bone and that side of things. But when you're talking about the edges, this is what we're talking about. That's the bit you actually have to trim off on either side of it. So you're not talking massive amounts. That's the dry aged bit, and then you start coming through into where the actual.
But that doesn't have to be wastage either. So we used to break down ribs like this. I put it all out into a big pan and boil it up, skin it all off, and you've got a lovely beef stock.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's not all waste, which is great, and obviously the bones there are left for
that's
what have
right.
you. Actual finished result though, so this is what we're getting, so from the rib. So that's what it looked like in the fridge. Oh, I don't want that, horrible, nasty, to this, which you can see, lovely, pink, deep red colour. You'd see that in the supermarket, you think, oh, I'd buy that, looks lovely. However, you saw that in the supermarket, you'd run away. So this is the differences. So once you get past that, as I say, that skeleton, that outer cover, you get into the really nice stuff. And I guess the time as you age over time, the actual amount you get in the centre is less and less and less, but it's more prime, so you get to charge more and more and more. So it's getting that balance, isn't it, really?
That's right. Also, your butcher will do all this work for you. So
that's what I got in for.
Yeah. So if you was to go in there and do this in an area that's got a meat ager, and you'd say, right, okay, I want that 3 rib, or I want that, can you prepare it for me? They'll give you that, give you the bag of bones for your stock, that sort of things. You haven't got to do any of that sort of things. But what you do need to do, I think there was one in that joint there, is you need to make sure it's labelled correctly. If you're moving joints around inside there, you need to know which one's been in there that length of time. So you put things like that when it was cut, so you'd know then yourself when it's actually gone into the machine. It's all about stock. It's got to be about rotation.
Yeah, definitely.
Because some people might want it only aged for 4 weeks. Some people, 8 weeks. So people will have a preference to what they'd like as well. So it's great to actually keep it from that way.
Perfect. So what we'll do is we'll wait for Paul to break this one down, and then we'll get to the cooking.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Electric grill here, and obviously the gas grill, and the decision on these two was interesting as well. So what do you take on the results?
Well, we've been working at Falcon with the electrification of kitchens, Chris, to get electric char grilling as close to we can as gas, and I think that was easily concluded today.
Absolutely.
Some people actually preferred the electric, but I think the overriding thing was most people couldn't tell the flavour profile one from another.
Yeah, that's very important. As I say, people are scared to go to gas because they're used to their traditional way of cooking, and there's no such, you can't beat the flavour of this, la 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 la. But today goes to show that something like this, you can really get up there and above what your traditional methods are. So if you are thinking of swapping out to electric, don't be scared. And as I say, come down here, have a go on them and try it yourself, because it's really interesting to see the results, especially when you do them side by side. Because you go to a restaurant and you may have one cooked on electric, you may have one cooked on gas, but unless they're side by side, it's very difficult to take into account the differences. Whereas here, this is what we can do with our panel of lovely judges. But yeah, so Paul as well, thank you very much for coming down, spending time talking us through it.
Thanks for
So after all the cooking, all the steaks, we've gotten from the gas to the electric to the gas to the solid fuel. The results are quite interesting. So we've had a panel of judges, of experts. I say experts very lightly, but yeah, we'll call them experts for today. We can see it's all gone, so that's always a good sign. Nobody's died, so that's a winner.
Still standing.
And we've got the deciding, well, it was unanimous actually. Everybody chose the same steak, which was?
It was the aged steak cooked on the solid fuel.
So as a conclusion, traditional methods of aging, like you would in the Stone Ages, over the traditional way of cooking back in the Stone Ages. So all this time we've been trying to make it better, and there's just no point.
We've gone back to where we were at the start.
Exactly. So it was a really interesting, but it does goes to show that by aging the meat, you can get the better quality. And on a blind tasting like we've done today, it's it's not just one person chose it; it was everybody. So it just goes to show that that is the right way to go, and what you can get from these sort of units to get your products up there and more valuable, I guess, is the answer. So yeah, that was really fun and interesting to do. So Andy, thank you very much for coming down. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much indeed.
Guys, as always, any questions, please reach out, contact us on the details below. Obviously, we've got Andy's details as well in the comments below. Reach out and we can maybe set up something like this for you guys to try. And it means that we get to eat more steak, so it's a win-win. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. For more information on the digital kitchen at the NCC and facility hire, visit the website or give us a call. Details on this are below. And don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for regular updates on the digital kitchen. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.